Welcome to Elliott's PT podcast. I'm here to help you find your balance and live your best life guilt-free. I don't believe there is a one-size-fits-all approach for health and fitness. We're all different and we need to find out what works for us. I'm passionate about helping people make realistic, long-term lifestyle changes that they will stick to and they will take with them forever. I don't believe in crazy diets or short-term fixes. We all need to live and find a perfect balance in diet and exercise that suits our individual needs. I want to help you find your exercise mojo, feel great and achieve wonderful things. Here is Elliott's PT podcast by Renae Elliott. Hello, and welcome back to Elliott's PT podcast. So today I wanted to talk about meditating and how it is actually such a great tool to use for stress relief or stress management. And it is something that I really struggled with a long time. It's something that I'd heard a lot about. I'd been always told to do it, but I never could, and I just never took the time to start to get used to it or to start to meditate more often. And now that I've actually done that, I love it so much. And I was doing meditation this morning, and I just thought, I can't believe how much I've changed in that. Loving the meditation, and I just thought it would be really good to share and for maybe you to think about it. Now I think last year or so I was listening to a podcast, and there was and I can't find the podcast to reference it, but there was someone that was on there that they had done research, and on the research they said that long-term meditators, so a long-term meditator was anyone that meditated for more than 5 years, that there was proof that long-term meditators lived longer. There was proof in the brain activity and all of that they lived longer, or any of those things. So I just thought that that's pretty amazing, that doing this thing can help you, live longer. But obviously it's a really big stress management tool, and it is something that I feel like if I can meditate or if I can learn to love it, anyone can. So what did I used to be like? And I still have times that I am like this. I'm very busy. I'm busy in my head, and I do struggle to relax. And I always have been. And when did I probably first start getting into it? So going back, when I would do yoga, and if you've heard me talk about how much I love yoga now, but it was something that I didn't like because it was too slow for me. I thought it was boring. And I totally didn't understand how strong you actually needed to be to do yoga. But I understand it now. So I used to get to the end part, where they do the savasana, and I used to lay there, and I used to be like, hurry up, get this done, blah, blah. I think about I don't have enough time to lay here. I could be doing this job, that job, this job. And, I wonder whether any of you can relate to that and feel the same way. So that was me. And then when I had Charlie, I knew that I needed to do more yoga, do more gentle exercise until my core strength had built up. So I started doing it every day, and I did it on an app that was called Down Dog. So I used to do it on this app, and I would lay there and I would do the yoga, and I probably did it for, let's say, 6 months or so. And then there was one day, and I can't remember how far into it, there was one day that I was like, I actually started looking forward to that savasana bit, and that was my favorite part, where I actually could relax. And I was so surprised because I'd never done that before. I'd never felt that way. So yeah, and then from then on it was like, oh, okay, I can actually learn to relax in here. So instead of hating it and sitting there going, hurry up, get this done, come on, I'm so busy, I actually started to really, really enjoy it. And so hopefully you can, think about that. Maybe this could be something that you yourself could start getting into, and it's just being consistent. It's being consistent. And so I was consistent with it because I was thinking of the benefit of the yoga, and then the savasana came at the end. And so that's where I was thinking of it in that way. I guess that was my motivation to get me started with it. And then there was just this one day that I was like, oh, I'm actually looking forward to this part. And I then realized how good I felt after. And then, I started doing it more. So I've then tried different meditations on and off, and I haven't really been that consistent with it. And probably only the last few months have I started being more consistent with meditation's. A really big wake up call for me was when I heard that podcast, I guess a year or so ago, when they talked about meditation as a stress management tool, and somebody had, the research was that any long-term meditators, they lived longer and all that. And my big reason for life is I want to live as long as I can. I want to have my body as able to do all the things that it can do. So, as much as we work on the outside, we do need to work on the inside too. That was something that was really stuck into my head. And then when we and I have spoken this before, when my husband contracted COVID at the start of the year, I knew in that week, I was like, I need to manage the household. So I need to, I also have my classes, and all the PTs that I do, I have all them that I need to manage. So I, need to look after these people, and I had to do everything online. I had to manage my kids and make sure that they're okay, and also look after my husband. So I didn't know how anything was going to go, but I knew that it was going to be a stressful week. And then I thought, but in order to do all this stuff, I have to look after myself. So I was like, what are the things that make me feel good? And I knew that doing some meditations were. So I have this meditation that I really, really love doing, and it's actually from YouTube. It's a breathwork meditation, and I love it. And I will see if I can put it down below so you could try it. And so I have this breathwork meditation that I love, and I've been doing this on and off. And when I do it, I feel really good. So I thought, okay, so I need to make sure that I'm doing this meditation. And I really love a bath. I love a bath. So I've been doing it in the bath. So I go for a bath and let's put my earphones in and do the meditation. And I do feel like I really, really relax. What I was like, okay, this week I'm going to make that a priority, because I was already because I was doing videos, live classes via Zoom because we were in lockdown. I knew I was getting enough exercise because I was having to do probably more exercise than what I normally do. And I knew that was fine. I had my treadmill, which I was walking on, but I knew there was using this meditation as a stress management. So some days I was doing it twice a day. Some days it was one. Obviously, we had to stay home for nearly 2 weeks because my husband had COVID and then my kids got it. So with the rules that were on at the time, you had to stay home. So it was nearly 2 weeks that we ended up, and I never contracted it. So we had to stay home during that period. And then once that period ended, life got back to normal. People went back to work, kids went back to school, all of that other stuff. And the stress management tools that I had been using kind of went out the window. And then a week or so later, I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh my God, or maybe a couple of weeks. And I was like, I felt so much better during the time when we were in, locked in our house, than what I did when we weren't in a lockdown anymore, because I had been, keeping on top of all those things for stress management, and the meditations was one of them. So that was a really big aha moment. And sometimes all this stuff and you've heard it, and like I said, like I've been told for years to meditate, I've been told it's good for you, blah blah blah, but it was only really at that moment, so I guess that was at the start of the year, that it really kind of, the penny dropped as to how beneficial it was for me and how much of a difference it had made in my life. In that, during that week, which was quite a stressful week, or stressful couple of weeks, during that time I felt less stressed than when I was living a quote normal life, and it was because I really feel it was because I had prioritized doing these meditations and all of this. And it's not for everybody, and meditations doesn't have to be, or it's finding something that works for you. So from that point on, I've then made it a priority. It then really became more in the forefront of my head. It's become a kind of a real priority to make sure that I'm doing this. So I am trying to do something at least once a day, and I've been pretty consistent at it. But it is something that I make the time for it now. But it makes such a difference. So this morning, and there's days that I relax more. There's other days that, I think they call it the monkey mind, that I've still got lots going through my head, and that's fine too. But I notice a real difference, and things can become clearer when you've been doing that. And like it's finding there's meditations that go for 5 to 10 minutes. There's also ones that go for, the one that the breathwork one that I'm talking about, that's 19 minutes or so. So I just thought it's just something to get out to more people, to think about how can you make this a priority for your life, or to start to do it. And even if you are like how I was when I started, is that, I couldn't relax, or, it's just stick to it, because there will be this day that the penny drops and you'll be like, oh my God, I feel so good. And that's what happened to me. And, but like I said, it didn't happen in a week. It took me of doing it for months, that it then before it started to feel really good. The other thing is I do use meditations if I struggle to go to sleep. So there's some nights that it doesn't happen that often to me, but maybe if I wake up through the night and I can't go back to sleep, and then you maybe start, maybe it's 2 a.m. in the morning and I know I need to get up at 4, and then I'm like, I've got to get back to sleep, and then I'm awake and I'm not sleeping. I'll put on a sleep meditation. So, you can just put it on I just sometimes go to Spotify and just Google sleep meditation and put it on. So so that's something that I do as well, and that helps me go to sleep if I can't switch off. And again, it's part of the toolbox that I use, and it's something that, when I put that on and I just listen, I do tend to fall asleep. So and previously, before doing them, I probably would have sat there and just overthought for hours. But now I know straight away, just put on, if I could feel myself not going to sleep, put on the sleep meditation. So sleep is also really important. It's important for everything, as we all know. But when I do meditations before I go to bed, I actually have a better sleep. Now, very rarely do I don't struggle to go to sleep. I can go to sleep quite fine. But I get a deeper sleep. I feel like I have a deeper sleep, and maybe it's because, I'm sure there's research on it, but maybe it's because I've, cleared my mind, or, I've actually relaxed myself before bed. So it's another great tool. And if you are someone that struggles with sleep, I would try the meditations. And I know that I was so hesitant to do it for so long because I couldn't relax, and I couldn't work out how good the meditations were and why people were going on about them. But just stick with it. Just stick with it and see how you feel, because it's really changed. It's changed me, and it really, really helps me relax so much more. And like I said, when we were in that lockdown and we came out, and I realized how much it had changed, like how much more relaxed I was when my life was more stressful than the everyday life. I was like, this is amazing. and so it's good to have that moment of realizing, and as society, we are a lot busier than ever before. We have lots of things going on, and I think the biggest factor that is underestimated, or people don't, is stress. And obviously we have good and bad stress, but stress is all around us, and it's looking to manage to stay on top of it, because so that it doesn't take over you. And stress is and it's I call it the silent killer, because I just think that people don't recognize it, or you've been living in a stressed life for so long that you actually don't know any different. And I know that when I know in people that family members or people that I know, that when they are quite stressed, they tend to be more snappy. You tend to make poorer decisions, and you can even if you're noticing that, if you're driving in the car and somebody cuts you off and you're like shouting at them or getting angry, well that's does that really help? And again, it's all part of stress, and you just don't need that. But meditating is a really great way to stay to stay on top of it and to learn to manage it. We can make, by being calmer and being less stressed, you can make better choices with food, better choices with exercise, better choices with everything in your life. It's really, it takes over. I remember somebody telling me he was somebody that meditated, and he could like just sit and meditate in the car and all of those other things. And he said that he'd found, it took him time, but he found that he could just switch off pretty much straight away. And that's what he was saying, that one day he was driving and there was like an incident, and this person had come right into his lane and they were going to, like it was like they were going to hit, but he was calm and he just slowly moved to the side and they missed each other and they were fine. But he said the old him would have shouted and would have, been really annoyed and all of that stuff, but he said he just didn't let it, but there's things that, like in that circumstance, this person was a lot calmer because they had, they did regularly meditate. But, in those circumstances, I always think, what's the point? Because shouting and getting angry is only upsetting you more and giving you stress that you don't need. So if you are somebody that has come across meditating, you've been recommended to do it, you're someone that you're like, I just can't do it. Look around. There are so many different types and there's so many different people, and you'll find someone or something that you can relate to. And what I've done is sometimes if I'm looking for one, I'll start to listen and I don't like the voice, and then I change. And, and then you'll find a voice or you'll find something that you really love, and then you can just do it over and over again. I'd heard these people. So the thing that I love is the breathwork meditation. And another podcast I was listening to, and they were talking about it. And they were talking about, that they'd went to this breathwork class. So this girl had gone there by accident, and she was talking that she'd been doing it, and she'd been doing it for, their class went for 4 hours or something. And when they had been, they were both talking about it, and they were saying how amazing it was and how it changed their life. And I was like, 4 hours? How could you meditate for 4 hours? So it really got me interested in this breathwork meditation. And so then I started doing more research into it and Googling it, and I understand how much they love it. So you just gotta try different things and stick to it. And you might have, for a long time I had that monkey mind that I couldn't switch off, and I still do now. But I definitely feel more, when I do it, I feel more relaxed. I feel like I can make better decisions. I feel like everything's a lot clearer. And sometimes if there's something I'm worried about or thinking about, maybe when I do the meditation, I can just come back to it and think about it and make a better decision, because my head's a bit clearer. Hopefully I might have inspired you to think about meditating a lot more. It doesn't have to be, definitely doesn't have to be a chore, but it's just finding one, or finding a voice or someone that you like that really works for you. So I would recommend to trial. I've got a few on my website, on my YouTube channel, which I will get linked below, and I'll link the breathwork one that I really love. But it's just trying, and just because I love it doesn't mean you have to love it, because we're all different. And like I said, it's taken me a long time of realizing how I felt, and then realizing, I didn't feel very good, and now, actually I feel really amazing. It's a few times of that to make me go, okay, now I get it. Now I'm going to do it more often. And I had to have some of those moments to really get to where I am today. So if you've tried it before, or you've been told to try it, just please think about it. Think about doing it, trying it, just trying it, and try it before you go to bed. Do you sleep a lot better? Try it before you maybe have a stressful moment. I've done the other things that I find that helps me sleep better is when I do restorative yoga. So, and that obviously has a meditation at the end. So restorative yoga is holding the poses for a lot longer. So I was doing that, and I and I fell asleep outside. I was doing it under the stars. It was really nice. It was it was a warmish night, and I was doing it outside on the grass bit in this part of the studio, and I fell asleep, and I woke up with Lee coming outside going, I wondered where you'd gone, are you okay? But when I do them before bed, I sleep better. So that's what I'm saying. So try these things and then actually review it. Go, oh, I did have a better sleep. I'll try it again, and then see, and then you notice the difference of how it makes. So if you think this will help anybody and maybe it could motivate them to try meditating, please make sure that you share it. And if you have any questions about it, if you would like me to send you a meditation, please send me a message and I'll be able to send you one. Okay, that is me for today, and I will speak to you all again soon.
Thanks for listening to the Elliott's PT podcast. I hope you have been able to find this information of use to you. If you know someone who might enjoy this podcast, please share it with them and ensure that you subscribe so you can be the first to know when new podcasts are released. If you have the time to leave a 5-star review, that would be amazing and it would be greatly appreciated. If you do so, please screenshot and share onto any of our socials and tag us. Then email the screenshot to hello@elliotspt.com and we will send you a free gift to your inbox. Thanks so much. Have an amazing day. Speak soon.